Hi everyone, welcome to my craft corner. If this is your first time joining me, I'm Heidi with Onigo Stamping, and I'm so pleased that you're here. Today, I'm going to be sharing a background technique with you called smooshing. Kind of silly sounding, but it's lots of fun. Before we get started, if you don't have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, I would love to be your demonstrator. If you have questions or need help ordering product or getting started stamping, go ahead and leave me a comment below or send me an email. All of the dimensions and the photos of the projects I'm going to share with you today are available on my website, as well as links to all the products you need to create them. All right, Onigo, let's get stamping. Okay, so the smooshing technique that I'm going to share with you today might be a little bit different than what you've seen in the past if you've seen smooshing before. I'm going to show you the way it was taught to me by my friend Jackie, which I think is maybe a little bit less messy than it normally is. I'm going to start with a piece of waxed paper. And I just tore that out and I'm just setting it on my craft space. Now I have I pulled out 3 different colors of re-inker. I recommend probably 1 to 3 colors. If you go more than that, you're going to really want to make sure that you keep them kind of separated so that the colors don't get too muddy. So I chose 3. Once again, today I'm using the Coastal Cabana, Bermuda Bay, and the Granny Apple Green. Actually, you know what? I'm just going to use 2. I'm going to use Coastal Cabana and Granny Apple Green. I like just 2 colors together. It's going to look great. So what I'm going to do is I am just going to go ahead and put some dots of re-inker on my piece of wax paper. I'm going to come in with some of that Granny Apple Green. Put some dots of that on there too. And now I'm going to grab just a spritzer that is filled with water, and I'm just going to give it a little bit of water so it starts to run just a little bit. Now I have some Fluid 100 watercolor paper. I've actually taken the sheets that are 5x7 and I cut them in half. So this is 5 by 3.5. Once you layer this on your card, this is a good size and a way to get two cards out of each sheet. So I'm just going to take this and lay it down, and I'm going to kind of tap the top of it, and now we get to see what happens. So I'm going to pull this up, and you can see how those colors all kind of run together. Now, if I want to, I can just let it dry like that. The other thing I can do is I could take some salt, and I have some coarse sea salt, and I'm just going to lay that on there. I'm going to set this aside for a few minutes. We're going to do another one. I'm going to set this aside and let it dry just a little bit, and then we'll come back to it and I'll show you what that sea salt does on there. So I'm going to go ahead and throw this sheet of wax paper away, and I'm going to grab another one. So we'll do this again. Actually, shall I grab some different colors and see what we come up with? Let me see if I can find some different colors. Let me grab my re-inkers. Okay, so I have my wax paper and I grabbed some different re-inkers. I grabbed some Poppy Parade and some Crushed Curry, some yellow and some red. Let's see what we come up with this. You generally want to choose colors that are, next to each other on the color wheel. You want to avoid using colors that are opposite on the color wheel. So like red and green, stay away from those. The colors are going to mix together and turn muddy. Not pretty. So I just put some dots of each of those colors on there. I'm going to give it a few spritzes again with some water. Get that kind of moving. And then I'm going to come in with my paper and just smoosh that down. Now I can pull that off. I can see the ink on there. You can let it run a little bit. You can also come in, if you want, with some paper towel. And you can grab the paper towel and you can actually, pull some of that color off. If you want it a little bit less vibrant, you can pull some of that off. You can also take your paper, and once it's, maybe just a little bit dry, come back in and smoosh parts of it down again. Or maybe I want to get some up here in this corner. and I can come and I can smoosh it over top. Let's see if this is, sometimes if you let it dry just a little bit, and then you come back at it, you can actually kind of layer the colors. So you'll get kind of two colors, you know, splotches. Here we go. So now I have some splotches of some darker red on kind of that lighter yellow and red color. So that's that. I can go ahead and set that aside. My fingers are a little bit messy. When I picked that up, I did get them a little bit messy, but not too bad. I'll just go ahead and throw away my wax paper again. For what is normally a pretty messy technique, that is pretty clean. So let's see. I'm gonna grab my piece with the salt. Okay, yeah, it has worked. So once this is dry, you can come and you can just brush that salt off. And this isn't fully dry yet. If I were doing this, I'd let it dry all the way, or I'd maybe hit it with my heat gun. But you can see where I've pulled that salt off. Hopefully you can see. It has, the salt kind of pulls up the color in certain areas, and so you get these splotches that are lighter in the middle with kind of a darker outside, and makes it a really fun texture. So this is the smooshing technique, and I really quick just wanted to show you, now that I have salt all over my piece of paper here, I just wanted to show you some cards that I made with this to give you an idea of what I did. So the first one uses the playful alphabet, and here I've actually cut out the letters, and then I use the negative space and just and that's on the adhesive foam sheets, the foam adhesive sheets. So I've just glued, you know, adhesive that right down to the top. These lines were made with the playful pattern stamp set, and you can just see underneath this fun watercolor background that I have. My next card, I really like this one. For this one, I used the Rooted in Nature stamp set. And all I've done is I stamped some branches along the top with navy, Night of Navy. And I think that this ink is probably Pacific Point and Granny Apple Green. You can see how the green kind of muddies and gets a little bit darker when it mixes with the blue. But again, if you can see these splotches on here, that's where I actually use that salt technique on top of it. And then my last card uses the Forever Fern stamp set. And here, I think that this is once again Pacific Point and Granny Apple Green, but when I actually went to mount it, I mounted it on Shaded Spruce and then Granny Apple Green, which I think that Shaded Spruce ends up matching where some of the blue and green ran together. And you can kind of see here where I dipped it in a couple times, so you get some other splashes on top. I also used the speckle stamp that is in that set and added a few more speckles in there too that kind of blend in with that background. So really fun technique, smooshing technique. I hope that you'll give it a try. Once again, thank you for joining me today. If you've liked this video, make sure that you hit the like button, comment, share it, subscribe to my channel. I'd love to see you back again next time. If you have any questions, leave a comment, send me an email. I'll help you as best I can. Thank you once again. Bye-bye.